Namaste, Vanakkam, and good evening to all of you. It's so wonderful to be back in this space, to be able to communicate with all of you. I think the last time we met for Expressions Espresso was the 19th September 2021. It's been 4 months now. I signed off at that time with the talented Benny Dayal, promising to come back as early as I could. Expressions Espresso has been a delightful experience for me. Each time I sit across, of course, virtually with my guests. I don't think I would ever have the time or the opportunity to meet so many talented and special people, if not for this session, these sessions of EE, as it's come to be known. A big thank you to all of you who have watched the shows and encouraged me to continue further through all your abundant response and appreciation. So here we are with a new episode. Speaking to Benny the last time made me feel so much younger and sprightly. We had a good session exchanging views and notes, and Benny generously shared the special moments from his journey and his outlook on the current trends. Thank you, Benny, for being with us last year and wishing you the very best. Here we are on episode 6 of season 4 of Expressions Espresso with a fresh perspective of seeing how much music can blend with all things to make life bright and beautiful. Our show today will feature a multi-talented personality. I'm yet to find, I'm groping, if there is a superlative for multi-talented. Music heals, we all know. Our guest today also heals through her profession and through her passion. The director of the Institute of Anatomy and the vice principal of the Madras Medical College became the 3rd woman and the 10th vice chancellor of the Dr. MGR Medical University. She has an outstanding teaching record of over 30 years, was a member of the premier editorial review board for Grey's Anatomy, and continues to be a member of the International Advisory Board for reviewing the publication. She has for long been a master of ceremonies of key government events. Noted for her Hindu religious discourses and orations in Tamil. Why am I talking in English? அப்படின்னு யோசிக்கிறீங்க தெரியுது. ஒரே ஒரு காரணம் தான். ஏன்னா நிறைய பேர் இந்த ஷோ பார்க்குறவங்களுக்கு தமிழ் தெரியல, நீங்க கொஞ்சம் ஒரு காமன் லாங்குவேஜ் இங்கிலீஷ்ல பேசுங்க அப்படின்னு நிறைய ரிக்வெஸ்ட் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்தது. அதனால சரி இங்கிலீஷும் தமிழும் கலந்து பேசுவோம் அப்படின்ட்டு தான் இந்த ஷோ வந்து அப்படியே வச்சிருக்கேன். She developed an interest in this segment in her earlier years. Stories of Manikavashagar and Tirunavukkarasar made her delve more into Panniru Tirumurai. Learning Sanskrit in depth helped her understand Adi Shankara's monumental works, and she affirms that her spiritual quest too began after this. The saying, a busy bee finds time for everything, is so apt for her, right? As she makes so much judicious use of her time. She is the recipient of many awards, the Best Performance Award of Appreciation by the State Health Department, the Kalaimamani and Sollin Selvar Award by the government of Tamil Nadu, Pravachana Chudamani from the Sri Krishna Gana Sabha, Astika Pravachana Ratna by Astika Samajam. These are some that I am naming today. This, what I'm going to tell you right now, is so important, and that which makes all of us, especially women, so proud. She has been awarded the Fellowship of the Royal College of Surgeons, Edinburgh, UK, the FRCS, and also delivered the convocation address at the college. And believe me, this is the first time an Indian woman has been bestowed with this honor. She's passionate about literature, especially Tamil, Indian culture, and the Indian knowledge systems. And her hobbies include reading, literature, a bit of gardening, and plenty of listening to music. I could go on, as the list seems quite endless. But I think we should hear it all from her and gain several insights in this evening's interactions. It is my honor and pleasure to welcome the versatile, multi-talented, and multifaceted Dr. Sudha Seshayyan. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. And thank you very much for all those lovely, kind words. I'm not too sure if I could stand up to all those words, but it's privilege, honor to be with you. Thank you.
I know you are all humility always. I have always watched you from a distance at close quarters, and I've always been awed by your, not only by your talent, but your, and the unassuming personality that you are, and there's so much of down-to-earth humility that you possess, Sudha.
Thank you.
Madu ival sollum seyalum onre. Madu ival sollum seyalum onre. Nanralladu mattradu ariyamangai. Nanilam potrum nangai. Sada ichuda potrum Sudha.
Thank you.
Sudha, Sada tondu todarattum. A little bit of, what you possess. I'm trying to borrow a little bit from that.
Nandri. But that reminds me, Sudhaji, sometime in your college days, were you a speaker too?
Yes, I was.
Yes.
I was. I did represent Epidsode College at the oratorical competitions, debates. Not so prolific, but at my level, I think I was trained well to speak, and I owe it to my parents for giving me that confidence.
That's lovely, because I've seen you that time, and that's
Abhi,
it. I think our association probably starts there. Maybe you don't remember because you were by then a very popular person. But I do remember at Epidsode College when you were Sudha Venkatraman, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Umani Lakantan and Sudha Venkatraman were all there. And I remember all of us used to look at all of you for that matter, with so much of awe.
Thank you.
எனக்கு
என்ன தெரியுமா ஞாபகம் இருக்கு, இப்போ இதுல கலாக்ஷேத்ரா ஃபவுண்டேஷன்ல ஒரு மீட்டிங்ல சால்டட் பெப்பர்ட் கேஷ்யூ நட்ஸுக்கு 2 பேரும் சண்டை போட்டோம். அதுதான் that is the latest memory that I have of you.
Okay, that's nice. Quite salted and peppered.
So எப்போதுமே நம்ம வந்து ஒரு கெஸ்ட்டை பார்க்கறச்சே நம்ம ஒரு ஃப்ளவர் பொக்கே இல்ல ஒரு சால்வையை போத்துவோம், இல்ல ஒரு ஹக் கொடுப்போம், அட்லீஸ்ட் a warm hug. Well, the hug is there virtually, but this little bouquet comes out of the songs, the kritis that you like.
Yeah, that's nice.
That you like? Rama Shira Sagara Shira Sagara Shira Sagara Shayana Sadapa Gari Pagari Sadasa Sariga Padasa Dapa Gari Pagari Sadasa Sari Kapadasa Dapa Gari Pagari Sadasa Tati Takajunam 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 Sadapa Pagari Pagari Sadasa Tati Takajunam 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 Takatari Kukutara Kidada Kadim Takatari Kukutana 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 Kidada Swagatam Krishna Swagatam Krishna Sharanagatam Krishna Madhurapuri Sadana Mriduvadana Madhusudana. That's the bouquet for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's very rare to find someone in the medical profession so fond of music and literature. And I think that's what makes you so very special.
Thank you.
But so should we move to the question?
Music and literature are I think they are inseparable from any soul.
Yes.
That's what I feel.
I think we just have to look for it within us. Yeah.
Very true.
Hailing from a family of doctors, I think it was but natural that your path veered towards medicine. But apart from your parents, was there anyone else during your childhood who had inspired you to do something different when we look at the talents that you have come up with?
So, I cannot think of anyone of that kind. But I can tell you one thing. My parents, I mean, போற போக்குல அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, like, very casually, not specifically taking time for that or making me sit down and then kind of preaching. But then just during the day-to-day activities, they would talk about great people, they would talk about great personalities, great deeds, எப்படி நடந்துக்கணும். Like I remember my mother all the time, like even when selecting a particular attire, இன்னைக்கு இந்த dress போட்டுக்கலாமா அப்படின்னு போய் எடுத்தா, she will kind of refer to Shakespeare and then say Polonius' advice to his son, you be rich but then not gaudy. அப்படிங்கிறத she will kind of, it will come out then. So all these probably Appa will, narrate, as you said, Manikavachakar Kade or something like that, in a very, very casual way, not making it kind of preachy, not saying, இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கோ, இதெல்லாம் படிச்சியா, இதெல்லாம் உனக்கு தெரியுமா, அப்படின்னு எல்லாம் கேட்காம, it was all casual, but then it all went in. That's what I
feel myself really, Sudha, because எனக்குமே அம்மா வெங்கடேஸ்வர சுப்ரபாதத்தை 3 வயசுல கத்து கொடுத்தா. அண்ட் பாட்டு அப்பவே கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் சரளி வரிசையில ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டா. பட் ஜஸ்ட் as you mentioned, nothing was forced into me. I would be playing with my toys, with my chopper, and அந்த காலை விரிச்சு உட்காந்து இப்படி விளையாடுவோம் இல்லையா அந்த pose. And she would on the side be saying everything and I would repeat it. So அப்படியே அது உள்ள போயிருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். I think I see a
similarity there. Because I even today, Tirukkurallam padikirche, there are some couplets of Kural which I still cannot bring the recent memory. அம்மாவும் அப்பாவும் என்ன வந்து ஒரு 2.5 வயசு, அப்ப ஸ்கிரிப்ட் எல்லாம் தெரியாது. as you say விளையாடுற வயசு, ஸ்கிரிப்ட் எல்லாம் தெரியாது. அந்த ஸ்கிரிப்ட் தெரியாத வயசுல உட்கார வச்சு 2.5 காத்தால எழுந்த உடனே அந்த தூக்க கலக்கத்திலேயே they'll make me recite some Tirukkural couplets. So I only remember, even today, I remember only that, whatever that I have. அப்ப நான் ஒரு கற்பனையில அதை ஏதோ வச்சிருப்பேன் இல்ல, அதுல சொப்பு வர கற்பனை இருந்திருக்கும், இல்லைனாக்க ஏதோ ஒரு கற்பனை இருந்திருக்கும். That அந்த ஒரு கைண்ட் ஆஃப் that form only I still remember. எனக்கு வந்து இப்போ அந்த சில கப்லெட்ஸ்க்கு நான் இப்போ இந்த ஸ்கிரிப்டை என்னால் அதுல சூப்பர்சீட் பண்ணவே முடியாது. Only that memory still remains.
We know that Justice M.M. Ismail sir, the then president of Chennai Kamban Kazhagam, he was instrumental in igniting that passion in you in Tamil literature, beginning with Kamba Ramayana. Have you met him at any point of time, and how did he give you that dagam to get into literature?
I've seen him several times. I've interacted with him. As you rightly said, he was the president of the Chennai Kamban Kazhagam in the late 1970s and early 1980s. That is when I went into contact with the Kamban Kazhagam. They used to conduct competitions, intercollegiate competitions. Adila kalandinna podudha he saw it first. And then there was one interesting incident. See, they used to conduct competitions in about 6 or 7 works of literature. Tirukkural, Seera Puranam, which not many people would have touched those days. Thembavani, Kamba Ramayanam, Silappadigaram, in the Madri. So all these competitions used to happen over a weekend, usually Saturdays and Sundays. So என்ன ஆகும்னா சாட்டர்டே அன்னைக்கு கார்த்தால ஒரு காம்படிஷன், மத்தியானம் ஒன்று, லிட்டில் லேட்டர் இன் தி ஈவினிங் ஒன்று, அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும். So once, I think it was 1980 if I remember right, because 1979 there was only 1 or 2 competitions. 1980 I got the first place. முதல் நாள் 3 காம்படிஷன் நடந்தது, 3த்துலயும் I got the first place. அடுத்த நாள் ஒன்று நடந்தது, I got the second place, இல்ல first place. But then அப்ப வந்து there was a system that you can in the Kamban Vida you can speak அப்படின்னா, the winner speaks. But what will happen is, if you are a winner in 2-3 competitions, whichever was your first win, அதுல மட்டும் பேசலாம். மற்றதுக்கெல்லாம் வந்து the second place person will automatically step in, ஏன்னா எல்லாருக்கும் சான்ஸ் கொடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு. So அப்போ வந்து I still remember it was a Sunday afternoon. Suddenly I was getting ready for the Silappadigaram competition. Then there was a call, like உங்களை உள்ள கூப்பிடுறாங்க. எனக்கு வந்து I was a little கொஞ்சம் jittery. எதுக்கு உள்ள கூப்பிடுறாங்க, நம்ம எனக்கு உள்ள போகணும். And I used to be very shy. அப்போ கொஞ்சம் ஒரு மாதிரி ஓரமா ஒதுங்கி போயிடுவேன். So போன உடனே then Ismail was there, and then the then secretary Pala Palaniappan, they were all sitting there and they said, நீ கலந்துக்காத. எனக்கு எங்கே இந்த தைரியம் வந்ததுன்னு எனக்கு இன்னி வரைக்கும் தெரியல. பட் தென் அப்ப ஏதோ ஒரு வேகம், ஏதோ அதெல்லாம் முடியாது, நான் கலந்துப்பேன். No, you may get the prize. அதனால என்ன சார், கிடைக்காம கூட போகலாம் சார், history will repeat. History need not repeat அப்படின்னு நான் ரொம்ப வேகமா சொல்லிட்டு வெளியில வந்துட்டேன். Like I will definitely participate அப்படின்னு. அப்புறம் he also kind of said, okay, you participate. And it so happened that I won the prize in the Silappadigaram also. But then they were gracious enough. Like எதுக்கு சொல்றேன்னா, அந்த மாதிரி நான் இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். And 1979 it was the International Year of Youth. அப்போ வந்து Justice Ismail had the guts. Those days சின்ன பசங்களை வந்து மேடை ஏத்துறது, அதுவும் கம்பன் கழகம், was not at all thought of. He had so much of opposition from all over. People from different places wrote to him, வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு. But then he kind of, made an attempt. Nanu, Justice Ramasubramaniam, who's presently with the Supreme Court, and then lawyer Ramalingam, he said, no, I'll field them in a program. It'll be a special program. So he chose topics in such a way, Kambaramayanatla, youth characters. So the entire session was titled like this, Kamba Arumbugalai Patri Pesugira Kalluri Arumbugal. And that I think was a great boost. Adlerinde every other place, like, everybody else who opposed also later on kind of said, no, let the youth come in. So I think that is how the launch pad was. And great people, Ismail, Asanyana Sambandam, great people.
Again, I have to tell you, there is a small episode that I have to share. கம்பன் கழகன் சொல்லுவேன்னு நான் ஒரு 4-5 வருஷம் பழனியப்பன் சார் சொல்லி பிரேயர் பாடிருக்கேன்.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So these discourses which almost ran for a fortnight, all these that you participated in.
Different areas, yeah.
So after you completed your MS, this happened, right?
Yes.
So to all of us, it seems like two different worlds, entirely different. How did you find the right yardstick to bridge them and see that they also coexist in your entire life parallelly and peacefully without one hindering the other?
Sudhaji, it's a very, what do I say? Like, a question which often comes, but then a kind of a question for which I don't find a complete answer always. But then, I have always tried to kind of keep one world not corrode into the other world. If you think these are two different worlds, in a way they are, in the sense physically, in a professional area, I have a program today, I want to go early, it is not very palatable. I cannot shirk my responsibilities. Correct. At the same time, I cannot kind of, my quality cannot be compromised. So I have tried and maintained that balance. அது வந்து ஒன்று என்ன பண்ணுவேன் சொன்னா, straight from my work spot I'll go. That was, one kind of compromise that I did. Steal my own time, not kind of, take time for getting ready and going. But then I would go straight from the work spot to the program area. And there are also times I always saw to that wherever I went, I would be able to come back the next morning. Sure. My 7:30, 8 o'clock start of day should happen the same way. It should not be hampered. So adanala I'll only kind of go to places or go to programs wherein I would be able to come back that night, or even if it's later, maybe take a bus or a train by around 1 o'clock in the middle of the night and reach Chennai by around 5 o'clock and get back to work like a good child, a holy child. So that kind of a thing that I always maintained a balance. And I never kind of, left any responsibility undone at the work spot. So you need to do some kind of time management. Yes, stealing time from our own selves, maybe if you can call it sacrifice. I don't call it sacrifice. I'm not doing it for someone else's sake. It's only for my own self. But then you would have to probably lose a little sleep, lose a little rest, but then balance. That is how the balance happened.
அது ஒத்துக்கிறேன். பட் தென் எப்படி நீங்க ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணீங்க? இதுக்கும் லெக்சருக்கும் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணணும், இந்த லெக்சருக்கும் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணணும்.
That somehow came in. See, somewhere when I was very young, my mother put in this thought into me. ஒரு வேலைக்கு இன்னொரு வேலை is a kind of a relaxation. So I found somehow the time to read. And one advantage that I took of the situation, like, when you started this program, you said, but for the virtual platform, you would not have had the chance of meeting people. I think it is this way also, but for the pandemic, many things would not have happened. So it's a way of looking at things. எனக்கு வந்து one advantage that I think that I had was I had to commute between Krompet, where I live, where I used to live and continue to live, to Madras Medical College, wherein I would travel by the suburban train, get down at the Fort Railway Station, and then walk. So எனக்கு அந்த ஒரு 50 minutes of travel time, which was there for me, that was, God given every day, at least 6 days a week. So I would kind of, keep something to read at that time. So on the 50 minutes, solid-ஆ கிடைக்கும் படிக்கிறதுக்கு அப்படின்னு எடுத்து வச்சுட்டா, டெஃபினெட்லி ட்ரெயின்ல ஏறின உடனே புக்கை திறந்தா அநேகமா உட்காரத்துக்கு இடம் கிடைக்கும். அப்படி இடம் கிடைக்கலனா கூட, even if you are standing, you can still kind of, mentally be prepared to open the book and read. So that way I made my time.
You are so amazing. I think every youngster watching this program should take this from you. அதாவது அந்த நிமிஷத்துல ட்ரெயின்ல டிராவல் பண்றது கூட, அந்த பயணத்துல கூட இவ்வளவு ஒரு டெடிகேட்டட், நிஜமா, I mean, these are qualities that each one of us should take from the other.
No, I think if you have to do certain things, you would have to rise up to that.
Correct.
If you want to be in both worlds, you need to rise up.
You are known to have said spirituality is a sense of balance. Medicine also emphasizes this. What does this really mean?
Sudhaji, medicine in a way kind of puts in a balance on the physical plane. It's a balance of many things where diseases do not happen. If the balance is lost, then diseases happen.
Right.
On the other side, the balance between the mind and the physical body too. So, and I feel spirituality is a kind of a balance where your mind rests at peace. Not kind of, tormented, not all the time tempted. So, under one balance, temptation or chinna temptations, all of us are prone to these temptations. ஒன்றும் இல்லை, லைப்ரரியில எல்லாரும் உட்காந்து படிச்சுட்டு இருப்போம், எக்ஸாம் டைம், தென் someone will come, can we go for a coffee? And then suddenly you find everyone will drop the book and then the whole crowd will walk towards the canteen. So it is that kind of temptation. Human life is full of temptations. But then avoiding these temptations, trying to keep the temptations away and keep the mind at rest, is what spirituality is. Spirituality is not going to a temple and then singing bhajans and then chanting this, that, and all that. If you're able to maintain your calm, not being tempted at something because someone else possesses it, or someone else has it, or some other house has it, if it is that kind of a balance, I believe that is what spirituality is. And keeping the mind at rest. அது we'll have to train ourselves. Train the mind to be at rest. It has to come by experience and by training.
So profound. நீங்க ஒவ்வொரு ஆன்சரும் சொல்றச்சு எனக்கு ஏதோ சொல்லணும் போல் இருக்கு. என்ன பத்தி என்னென்ன நீங்க இந்த டெம்டேஷன் பத்தி சொன்னீங்கல்ல, டெம்டேஷன். So I love Cadbury's milk chocolate. Okay. So for 1 month, I will really engage myself in gifting myself every day. If the day goes well, if I've done whatever is on my agenda on that day, in the night, I have a slab of Cadbury's. அது என்னால ஒரு ஸ்லாபோட நிற்காது, அது இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் அப்படின்னு இன்னும் ஒரு ஸ்கொயர் எடுத்துப்பேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் 1 மாசம் கழிச்சு I will tell myself, temptation too much. It's reached a saturation point. For 3 months, no chocolate. And believe me, it really works. நீங்க சொன்னீங்க அந்த மைண்ட் ட்ரெயின் பண்ணிக்கணும்னு. So when I tell my mind, நீ 1 மாசம் சாப்பிட்டுட்ட, நிறையவே சாப்பிட்டுட்ட, ஸோ 3 மாசத்துக்கு கிடையாது. So that's what I feel is, I relate to the temptation, the word temptation that
Yeah,
you
yeah. You would have to set yourself some bar and then, try and maintain yourself at that level, not tipping this way, that way. So that's it.
சரி, தமிழ் மேல உங்களுக்கு உயிர், காதல் எல்லாமே. What made you take up to learn Sanskrit?
A very cured thing is, my father wanted me to learn Sanskrit.
I see.
அவருக்கு
Okay.
வந்து சன்ஸ்கிருத் படிக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சின்ன வயசுல அவருக்கு ஒரு ஆசை இருந்ததா. நாட் தட் ஹி த்ரஸ்ட் இட் ஆன் மீ, பட் தென் ரொம்ப சின்ன வயசுலயே அக்ராஸ் த ரோட் தேர் வாஸ் ஒன் சன்ஸ்கிருத் பண்டிட் இருந்தார். அவரை கூப்பிட்டு லைக் ராமசப்தம்லாம் வீட்டுல சொல்லி கொடுக்க சொல்லி மை பேரண்ட்ஸ் அரேஞ்ச்ட். அதுக்கப்புறம் அது அப்படியே விட்டு போச்சு. ஃபார் மெனி ரீசன்ஸ் அது விட்டு போச்சு. பட் தென் தட் கிண்டல்ட் the kind of desire to learn Sanskrit. அதுக்கப்புறம் என்னாச்சுன்னா, as I tread into Kambaramayanam, there was a natural desire to kind of compare what is in Valmiki.
Correct.
And slowly as I went into other areas, this desire expanded. So I wanted to learn Sanskrit, and that's how it happened.
But அது முடிக்கிறது அந்த grasp of the language, டக்குன்னு you were able to do it.
Yeah, if you put in your mind, yes.
Again.
Konjam, initially it was a little difficult, but then keep doing it again and again. I believe in that. You commit to something, keep doing it again and again. That's how I respond to questions on memory too. People usually ask me, எப்படி வந்து மெமரி பவர் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறது, எஸ்பெஷலி when you're a doctor, a lot of youngsters, especially school children, எப்படி மெமரி பவர் இன்க்ரீஸ் பண்ணிக்க முடியும்? The only way to increase your memory power is not through any memory tablet or herb or anything. Committed to memory, repeated commitment. அதை பத்தியே நினைச்சுட்டு இருந்தா it comes in. Same way, you want to do something with refinement, keep repeating it, keep learning it again and again. Right. Initially it's difficult, but then after some time it comes into you. It's something like முதல்ல ஒரு கிருதி பாடம் பண்றச்சே கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும், but keep singing it again and again. You train yourself, after which it doesn't leave you. Even if you push it away, it doesn't leave you. That's how.
Yeah. பழைய காலத்து மாஸ்டர்ஸ்லாம் இப்போ அரிக்குடி ராமலிங்கரெல்லாம் சொல்லுவாங்க, 100 தடவை ஒரு கீர்த்தனையை பாடிட்டு தான் அது மேடைக்கே கொண்டு போனோம்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. See the repetition matters so much, and the repetition is a practice at home, right? So
yes, it's a training. I always think of Avvayar's line. நம்ம அந்த முதல் லைன் we always say, சித்திரமும் கைப்பழக்கம், செந்தமிழும் நாப்பழக்கம், வைத்ததொரு கல்வி மனப்பழக்கம். 4 மாசம் தமிழே பேசாம இருந்துட்டா, you go abroad, you don't have a chance to converse in Tamil. You come back, you find you're groping for words sometimes. எழுதி பழக்கம் இல்லை இன்னைக்கு. Many of us have left this. கையால எழுதுறது போயிடுது. எழுத ஆரம்பிச்சா பேனாவை பிடிச்சா நிறைய பேருக்கு அந்த பேனா நிக்க மாட்டேங்க. we have been writing, right? So it's all a matter of practice. So practice panna it will come. Practice makes perfect ங்கிறது correct தான். Perfect ஆறோமோ இல்லையோ, but then practice kind of grooms us. So திரும்ப ஒன்ன பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தோம்னா it will definitely pay its reward.
Why did you branch out to also do hospital administration? There must have been a reason for you to have taken that aspect along with your other medical credentials.
I should have expected this question from you, knowing you. Okay. See, I was exposed to administration quite early in my career. So I was promoted quite young. So அப்ப என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா, I had to kind of take charge of a department. Even when I was doing my post-graduation, it was a very pure situation. I had to handle people who were much, much older to me by age. I still remember the first time I went to take an embryology class.
Okay.
Embryology, how the embryo goes, is all part of our system of education. The embryology class எடுக்கிறதுக்கு போனேன். That is when I was doing my PG. And my professor said, nothing doing. Sarada Kadiresan, she said, you have to do. I said, ma'am, I'm a little, not very comfortable about it because quite a lot of old people sitting there. Medicine la PG pandrathu vandu, even 40s, they used to do PG.
Right.
On the particular class la nanum PG, but I do find my postgraduate colleagues there, I have to do a class for them, especially in embryology. And I am a little uncomfortable in Sonne. She said, nothing doing. You have to do the class. So I went and walked into the class. I still remember it's a huge gallery hall and people, kind of scattered all over the gallery benches. Suddenly one voice, anga mela vandu konjam dark ah it will not be very well lit, those classrooms. And one voice suddenly, came out, burst out saying, அடடா எம்பிரியாலஜி எடுக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு எம்பிரியோவே வருது அப்படின்னு.
Oh, so sweet.
Oh God, a few moments I was seeing stars. Then I realized, okay, the comment is that I'm too much a junior and then a senior sitting there. So this almost became a kind of a system, not only when I was doing my PG and taking classes, but when I had to kind of handle departments, it so became that there were seniors who had to work under me, primarily because of the placement, they were subordinates.
Okay.
But then they were mighty senior in age and then they had their experience. So எனக்கு வந்து administrationக்கு I got exposed quite early. So இதுல என்ன ஆச்சுன்னா I had a good rapport with all of them. But I also thought I have to learn something the right way. You learn out of experience is one. But then if you need to learn certain things, it is better to go through a course because it's kind of structured. நம்ம வேணும்னா நமக்கு வேணுங்கிறத மட்டும் we kind of figure out, read that and then leave other things. So a structured programல I wanted to learn administration. So that is where I went into, on one side I went into public administration with Osmania University, and then I also did hospital management with Annamalai University. So these are the reasons, kind of, the way I was exposed to and the way I wanted to know more things about it, learn it in a structured, organized program, and then put in my experience and kind of mix it.
Right. You are known to have compiled the Tamil lexicon in medicine for the virtual Tamil University while you were a member of the editorial board. Were you able to measure the benefits of this endeavor? Also, what really triggered you to do it?
The trigger was more of, not anything specific. The trigger was because V.C. Kurandai Swami, many of us would remember, the former Vice Chancellor of Anna University and an educationist of the city. He was with the Tamil Virtual University. It later on became the Virtual Academy. It's no longer the Virtual University. Virtual University Arkumbodhu, he embarked on this project of getting technical terms in Tamil. And somehow he pulled me into it. Of course, in the medical area, we had people like Professor Lalita Kameswaran, Professor Devanayagam, all of them doing some bit of work. So probably they all felt that, as a junior, I was running here, there, everywhere, and they thought probably I was the right kind of, material for that. They pulled me into it. பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் I felt very comfortable. It helped us in one way, teaching students who came from the rural background. So language was a problem. And the Western textbooks in medicine, where the language, the way things were presented, it was a little difficult for the students who came from the rural background. So avangalukku solli kudukumbodhu it was quite easy. And in Madras Medical College, we had a very active Tamil association. In fact, even when I was a student, we used to have classes, in varied kinds of things. We had to deal with patients. Patients kita communicate பண்ணும்போது certain terms we have to come down and communicate in their common language. அதனால we used to run even Telugu classes. சுந்தர தெலுங்குன்னு கிளாஸ் நடத்தி புக் போடுவோம், சின்ன சின்ன booklets, because lots of Telugu patients would come. Madras being kind of the Chennai or erstwhile Madras and the present Chennai, it's a kind of a cosmopolitan city wherein you find people who speak Telugu, people who speak Urdu, everyone is there. So patients like Telugu patients also would come. So எங்களுக்கு வந்து communicate பண்றதுக்கு we'll find it a little difficult. So we learned spoken Telugu. So அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு background இருந்ததுனால to teach the boys and girls who came from the rural background, I thought this lexicon work where I would be able to get equivalent technical terms, those terms helped me teaching them. And my interest in literature helped it because I found in the ancient Tamil text quite a lot of words which can be used with convenience. இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நான் சொல்றேன், நம்ம ஸ்டெப்னி அப்படின்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை யூஸ் பண்றோம் இல்லையா, கார்ல ஸ்டெப்னிங்கிறோம். இந்த ஸ்டெப்னிக்கு ஆரம்பத்துலன்னா என்ன சொல்றதுன்னு தெரியாது. ஸ்டெப்னி என்ன, ஸ்டெப்னி ஸ்டெப்னினா என்ன, அது ஸ்டெப்னி அப்படின்னே சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கோம். பட் தென் இஃப் யூ கோ இன்டு தமிழ் லிட்ரேச்சர் ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா பார்த்தா சேம சக்கரம் அப்படின்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை பயன்பாட்டுல இருக்கு. And if you use that sema chakaram, it means, and gramathla a lot of people semam appadina they will use that word. So adha later on in translation partha, when they kind of translated the term Central Reserve Police Force appadin translate panna vendi vandabodhu, they translated it this way, Madhya Sema Kaval Padai. So அந்த மாதிரி like in ancient literature you do find வள்ளுவர்ல வந்து ஏமாப்புன்னு ஒரு வார்த்தை இருக்கு. ஏமம் அப்படின்னு எடுத்துட்டா, ஏமாப்புன்னா பாதுகாப்பு, ஏமம்ங்கிற வார்த்தையை எடுத்துட்டா it can be used for immunity. You don't have to search for words. நிறைய words இருக்கு அப்படின்னு பார்த்தபோது all this kind of blended, all these experiences and feelings blended, and that's what made me get into that lexicon work.
You know why you were chosen? It's not because you were a junior running here, there, and everywhere, because you're the smartest.
Maybe.
Let's face reality, truth.
Gives me a lot of happiness to think that way.
இல்ல, உங்களால செய்ய முடியும்ன்றதுனாலதான் அந்த ஒரு பொறுப்பை உங்ககிட்ட ஒப்படைக்கிறேன் இல்லையா. இப்போ உங்க புக்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, சுந்தரகாண்டம் and Sri Lalita, they are extremely popular. So also your lectures on Soundaryalarari, of course Kambaramayana, Tirupavai, Tiruvambavi, idella. What do you think is the actual secret, should I say, that draws people in this era to listening to lectures on these old age scriptures? Is it packaging? Is it the targeted audience? Or is it that there is a severe dearth of people who can extol these virtues and bring about a positive change in the mindset of people? I know it's a long question, but I think the answer is...
Yeah. It's a long question, but then not a very difficult question. The thing is, it's not only the packaging. I think it's all there. It's all there. And people do have a kind of an inherent feel about the culture. People are able to relate better because, we grow up in this atmosphere. Whatever said and done, there is some bit of culture in the way we grow up and all that. Inda veetliyume, inda kodandikkume. And they are able to relate better. But what is more important is you kind of unearth the truth, the perennial truth that lies inside, the human values which lie inside. When that is given to them in a kind of modern comparison, people take it well. சே ஒரு விஷயத்தை சொல்லும் போது இட் இஸ் நாட் தட் எங்கேயோ பழங்காலத்துல சொன்னது இல்லை. அதுல there is so much of relevance to what you and me can see and practice. So if it is put that way, when that part of it is given, அது வந்து எனக்கு it's a little easier because I'm in the so-called scientific world. So இது ரெண்டையும் ஈக்குவேட் பண்றது, இது ரெண்டையும் பார்க்கறது, இது ரெண்டையும் சொல்றது is easy. நான் ரொம்ப simple எக்ஸாம்பிள் ஒன்று சொல்றேன். You remember the way children used to be carried in those days? நம்ம வீடுகள்ல அம்மா வந்து இப்படி இடுப்புல எடுத்து வச்சுப்பாங்க. And then sometimes, when you go to this கோயில் திருவிழா and all, you find the father, the child will be sitting on the shoulder of the father. இது வந்து for us, when you look at it today, it appears to be one very, very old fashioned way of doing things and பழங்காலத்து பழக்கம். But அந்த கால் வந்து for a small child, inherently, physiologically, when the child is born, there is a possibility of the hip joint turning inwards. அது வந்து நேச்சுரல் மெக்கானிசம். என்னன்னா அது இந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் இப்படி உட்காரும் போது இடுப்புல அந்த குழந்தைய வச்சுக்கும் போது ரெண்டு ஹிப்பும் கொஞ்சம் அவுட்வர்ட்லி டர்ன் ஆகும்.
கரெக்ட்.
This is a kind of a treatment procedure which is given by medical textbooks. அந்த குழந்தைக்கு newborn baby or within the age of 1 year before walking, there is a possibility where the muscles will pull the hip joint inwards. So இதை இப்படி வச்சுண்டா this will be better. It is a treatment. But then think of our age-old habit where it was naturally brought in the system. So எனக்கு வந்து இந்த வேர்ல்டும் பார்க்கும்போது இது ரெண்டையும் ரிலேட் பண்றது, it became very, very easy, very convenient to relate. So when I pick up certain things from here and then give it to them, put it in that package and give it, people are able to relate better and take it better. In the மாதிரி lots of things are there. The terminology, the words, Sanskritலையும் Englishலையும் Latinலையும் இருக்கிற terminology, how it relates the same way, அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள் எல்லாம் when I'm able to expose, people take it better. That is it.
Correct. Would you strongly believe that art and culture, they elevate every facet of life? I've heard of my very own friends, corporate world, that listening to music and watching dance has brought in an element of creativity in their day-to-day work. When they work, they're always at the computer or having all these meetings or always thinking and how to, kind of improve their company, the profits. It's always tension and anxiety. So when they watch art, it helps them to bring a calmness to their mind. Is it true or is it just a myth?
Very true. Very true. And you would not be surprised, and I'm sure you've done it yourself. Music, of course, dance also, but then music kind of gives a solace to the mind. Adanalada, even when someone is in distress, listening to music calms them down. And we are now talking in terms of music therapy for several diseases, because most of the diseases are related to the mind, not necessarily they are diseases of the body alone.
Right.
Any disease for that matter, peptic ulcer, acidity, the reason is the mind is always at stress. Such kind of an individual gets into peptic ulcer disease or acid peptic disease and so on. And somebody who all the time keeps worrying their skin, they land up in skin problems. So you find always the mind and the body are related. Several of the disorders are related to something that's happening in the mind. And to calm the mind, music is one great, what do I say, great instrument that calms the mind. Adanala music therapy is being thought of, and in certain psychological illnesses, even drama therapy,
Hmm.
arts, drama therapy has helped. And dance vanda, dance is a unique art. I always used to wonder as to why our ancestors made the god dance. எனக்கு நடராஜர் பார்க்கறச்செல்லாம் I always used to have this question. My favorite godhead is Nataraja.
Oh,
So
okay.
எனக்கு நடராஜா பார்க்கறச்செல்லாம் சின்ன வயசுல எப்படின்னா எனக்கு வேற பென்சில் நடராஜா பென்சில்னு ஒன்று வரும் தெரியுமா?
ஆமா, ஆமா.
எனக்கு வேற பென்சில்லாம் யூஸ் பண்றதுக்கு பிடிக்காது. I don't know why. I always felt நடராஜா பென்சில் யூஸ் பண்ணா I was comfortable. அந்த பென்சில் இல்லைன்னா நான் மற்ற பென்சிலை தொடக்கூட மாட்டேன். அது some kind of an affinity to நடராஜா. And அது அந்த 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 ஃபிகரின் பார்க்கும்போது I always used to wonder why our ancestors made God dance. And then slowly I realized that is one art form where you cannot separate the artist and the art. இப்போ நீங்க பாடுறச்சே கூட we can close our eyes and still hear you. உங்களை பார்க்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. Your voice, your partly voice cannot be separated from you, I agree, partly separable. But then danceல அந்த டான்ஸரை பார்க்காம can you appreciate dance? பாலாமா டான்ஸ் ஆடினாலும் சரி, பத்மாமா டான்ஸ் ஆடினாலும் சரி, யாரு டான்ஸ் ஆடினாலும் அவங்கள பார்த்தாதான் அந்த ஃபார்ம் அந்த ஆர்ட்டையும் நம்ம அப்ரிஷியேட் பண்ண முடியும். So it is a kind of a cosmic balance where the cosmos is God and God is cosmos. Inseparability காட்டுறதுக்கு தான் இப்படி ஒரு ஃபிகரினை they have given அப்படின்னு I slowly, gradually it dawned on me. அப்போ அது அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங், அந்த ஒரு திங்கிங் எல்லாம் வரும்போது தான் I also realized these art forms give us some kind of solace. நீங்க ஒரு டான்ஸை பார்க்கறச்சே கூட அந்த டான்ஸுக்குள்ள ஏன் மியூசிக் அண்ட் டான்ஸ் கிரியேட்டிவிட்டி அப்படின்னா அந்த டான்ஸை பார்க்கறச்சே அதுக்குள்ள அப்படியே அமிழ்ந்து போயிடும். அதுக்குள்ள இன்வால்வ் ஆகும்போது யூ ஃபர்கெட் ஆல் யோர் டைவர்ஷன்ஸ் ஆர் லாஸ்ட். வேற ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் எல்லாம் போயிடுறது, மனசு வந்து காமாறுது. And that is when creativity is kind of brought out also.
You spoke about art and artist and how they could be inseparable. I have to take a moment to pay obeisance to someone whom we have lost today, right? The great Bharat Ratna Lata Mangeshkar ji. I mean, I don't think there's a single person in this world who has listened to her music and not been touched internally by her voice.
Very
What a timber, what soaring paltis. I mean, you can't imagine that she reigned as the supreme queen for so many decades.
And that solace that voice brought her.
Yes, yes. அந்த வார்த்தை சொன்ன உடனே எனக்கு வந்து இந்த ஒரு நிமிஷமாவது நாம வந்து இந்த ஷோல வந்து அவளுக்கு டெடிகேட் பண்ணணும் இத.
கண்டிப்பா.
What is the song that you have been touched by? Is there a song of Lataji's?
Lataji's எந்த சாங் வேணாலும். And that Araro.
Araro. தமிழ்ல 100 பாட்டு பாடி இருக்கான்றது என்னால நம்பவே முடியல.
And அந்த உச்சரிப்பு வந்து will still be like somebody who listens to it for the first time would not say it is someone whose mother tongue is not Tamil. அந்த ஒரு அந்த அந்த டிம்பர்ல கூட அந்த ஒரு சொலேஸ் கிடைக்கும். அந்த வாய்ஸ்ல வந்து ஸ்டில் அந்த 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 what to say, that nativity will still be there.
She has left behind a huge repository of songs. I think for us, she will be alive through those songs.
Yes, definitely.
We have now seen 2 years of the pandemic, Sudama. And I think many of us, rather many in the society, have faced roadblocks, different ways. Things have come to a standstill, and depression, despair, helplessness, all of this has been heightened and come to the surface. Now, were you into giving discourses online at these times? Did you feel that it gave a lot of relief and mental strength to your audience? இல்ல நீங்க லைவாவே கொஞ்சம் பண்ண முடிஞ்சுதா?
Live பண்ண முடியல சுதாஜி. We did not do anything live, and then I was also kind of caught up in my university's research activities during the pandemic. So I deliberately avoided any physical meetings
Right.
because I was going into the laboratory in and out, and then we were working extra hours those days. So that was one reason. And second thing is, like, there were no physical shows. But
Correct.
then later on, a little after about 3-4 months into the pandemic, some of these virtual shows started. But in a virtual show, I was not very comfortable and convenient because I was still caught up in my work. So I thought that was important. So இது பண்ண முடியாது அப்படின்னு I was keeping them away. அதுக்கப்புறம் செகண்ட் வேவ் அந்த ஃபேஸில் ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் டூயிங் சம் ப்ரோக்ராம்ஸ் virtually. But then the impact of spiritual lectures and the impact I realized it in a different way. Some of my friends were admitted, and primarily because I belong to that world.
Right.
Anyone who got sick or RT-PCR positive, it kind of it was a wave of scare and fear. Like when people became positive, there was so much of fear in them. Immediately they'll call, ஐயோ நான் பாசிட்டிவ் ஆயிட்டேன், நான் என்ன பண்றது, நான் என்ன எங்க போறது என்ன. So there will be times when I had to kind of guide them, get hospitalized, get here, get there, and then talk to friends and then channelize their treatment எல்லாம். அந்த மாதிரி நடக்கும்போது I had so many of them call me in the evenings. கொஞ்சம் இருட்டு வந்தோடனே they'll call. Isolation.
Right.
Well, if they were admitted, they were in a separate room. Nobody would go near. Even doctors would make a kind of rounds once a day or something. PPE போட்டு வரும்போது டாக்டர் கூட அடையாளம் தெரியாது. And you get into a feeling that nobody comes near you, and you're kind of outcast, and you've been thrown out.
Somewhere, I think Dr. Sudha Seshayyan has gone out of screen. She will be back, I presume, soon enough. Maybe there's a power failure. Maybe there is, I'm not sure what the problem is. But while we wait for her, I'm going to deliberate on what she last spoke about the situation the pandemic has evolved. How people have been stressed out, how people have been anxious, and how art and culture has really helped them to hold on. This communication with music, even if they were in isolation with their phones or laptops, they were able to listen to music and get some solace, as Sudha Seshayyan said. Let me just find out what's the matter. என்னாலேயே virtual shows பண்ண முடிஞ்சது, virtual concerts, I mean, over 2021. I think when there was a dip in the pandemic, there were dip in cases, the world opened up a little bit and we were able to perform a few concerts. And then, of course, there have been festivals, that the Margari festival, that has been online. So we used to go to the Sabha. There won't be anybody in the audience, just the crew, the camera and the audio crew. And we would sit there and sing as if the hall is full to these friends. And I think a lot of people really benefited out of the effort that various organizations took to have these festivals virtually. So, as Sudha observes, isolation is not an easy cup of tea. The fear that comes in is something that needs to be addressed. And I think art, music, and dance, and of course, as Dr. Sudha Seshayyan says, I was just telling them, elaborating on what you said, Sudhaji,
Yeah.
that art has definitely helped people in a very big way. அதுவும் இந்த ஐசோலேஷன்ல இருக்கறச்சே ராத்திரி வர வர அந்த பயம் இன்னும் ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு. அப்போ இந்த
Bayam jastiyayi, correct. You know what used to happen? People will call. ஒரு 7:30 மணிக்கு ஃபோன் வரும். என்னமோ பண்றது பயமா இருக்கு. யாரோ வந்து என்ன புடிச்சிட்டு போற மாதிரி இருக்கு. And they would say ஏதாவது ஒரு 10 நிமிஷம் நல்ல விஷயமா பேசேன் ஃபோன்ல. So that is when I kind of realized the need for some kind of a spiritual company that everyone was longing for. So அது வந்து அப்புறம் the impact நான் ரியலைஸ் பண்ணது இன்னொரு விஷயத்துல என்னன்னா people lockdownல people were at home, they could not go out, and they started listening to all these lectures. நிறைய பேர் வந்து people came and told me, some of my own colleagues came and told me, ma'am, we never ever knew that you were into all this, but then because we had a lot of time and then didn't know what to do, then we went into it and found, oh, இவங்களை எங்களுக்கு தெரியுமே, the same face, same familiar face அப்படின்னு. And some doctors even went to the extent of saying they became believers. They said, நாங்க believers இருக்கல, நான் வந்து God belief எனக்கு இருக்கல, ஆனா இந்த pandemic situationக்கு அப்புறம் we started believing, and then when we started hearing you, சில விஷயங்கள்லாம் கேட்கும்போது, ஓ இதுல இவ்வளோ விஷயம் இருக்கா, இது இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஆங்கிள் அப்ரோச் இருக்கா அப்படிங்கிறத புரிஞ்சுட்டோம். Thanks for putting us into that groove அப்படின்னு people came. I'm sure you should have also gone into this kind of an experience. People would have come and told you the same thing, listening to your music and all that.
இல்ல இந்த எக்ஸ்பிரஷன்ஸ் எஸ்பிரஸோ நீங்க வந்து 36th செலிபிரிட்டி அப்படின்னா இதுவே வந்து இப்படிதான் ஓடி இருக்கு. Because people came and told me, kept on messaging and said, why have you stopped after 10? Why have you stopped after 20? We love the program. We look forward to who your guest is. We want to know more about the guest. ஏன்னா இப்போ உங்களை என்ன டாக்டர் சுதா சேஷன், அஃப்கோர்ஸ் உங்களுடைய டிஸ்கோர்சஸ் கேட்கறவா வந்து அந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட் தெரியும், உங்களுடைய மெடிக்கல் ஃபீல்ட்ல அந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட் தெரியும். பட் உங்களுடைய மற்ற விஷயங்கள், நீங்க எப்படி இது உள்ள வந்தீங்க, எப்படி அதை வந்து வளர்ந்தது எல்லாம் வந்து இப்ப தெரியறது இல்லையா நமக்கு. So it has really helped, as you say, virtual conversation and of course art being communicated virtually. Yes, I can't believe that we have run 1 hour, but this question is also important, I feel. You have been the resource person for the Natya Rangam dance festivals. The answers mention that your lectures were not just eye-openers, but lent a new dimension to their art. What made you involve yourself with dance? And how did you feel the experience was in terms of, again, we've lost the guest. I think the Wi-Fi must be troubling her. She'll be back. So now, since she said that she likes Nataraja, இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும், இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும் நடராஜனடி, இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும் நடராஜனடி பணிவையே நெஞ்சே, இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும் நடராஜனடி பணிவையே நெஞ்சே, இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும் Natarajan manasu vekka maatengirare. Our guest has to come back, and we have a few more questions to be asked, those that have come in from the audience. But we'll wait for a few minutes. There are questions like Dr. Sudha Seshayyan asked by Rajagopalan Deshikan. He says, modern medicines in the form of tablets, will they stop human death in future? In the same way, will swallowing tablets start to prevent timely hunger in humans? Well, I don't know the answer to this question. So we have to wait for Dr. Sudha Seshayyan to come back on screen. Since we don't know what her problem is, she has to help herself. நீங்க எல்லாருமே வந்து அவளோட இருக்கீங்கன்னு தெரியும். அதுவும் கேள்வி கேட்டவாள்லாம் அவங்களுடைய கேள்வி கேட்கப்படணும் அப்படின்னு நீங்க ஆசைப்படுறேன்றது தெரியுது. என்ன காரணம் சுதாமா? What is happening? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
What is happening?
Some technical glitch, I don't know. I've switched into another system now.
Okay, good. I was just saying now.
Maybe my Mac was getting bugged.
இல்ல நம்ம அதுக்கு பாவம் டயர்ட் ஆயிடுது. ஏன்னா ஒரு மணி நேரம் ஆயிடுது.
இதே எவ்வளவு நேரம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி எடுத்து போல இருக்கு.
We were talking about the dancers, right? And சொல்லுங்க, shorter சொல்லுங்க. We're going to move to questions.
I know we've been into it. See, Natya Rangam somehow came the way like Krishna Swami of Nardagana Sabha.
Right.
You remember him? So he was kind of wanting to do some literature and Natyam joined together, especially appreciate poetry, so that poetry can be told to the dancers the way the bhavam kaatumbodhu they should know poetry. So Sujata Vijayaraghavan and the rest of them came into it kind of. So I joined the band, and then that is how resourcing for the dancers started.
Okay. So now we're going to move to a few questions from the audience. I was just speaking about that question earlier. Rajagopalan Deshikan, he has a very, very different kind of question. He says, modern medicines in the form of tablets chaparche, human death we keep it at abeyance to a certain extent, addressing the disease. Will there be a time when just swallowing tablets will prevent timely hunger in human beings?
A lot of research is going on. It appears to be a kind of a very strange question, but then it has relevance. Research is going on, but maybe varathukku romba naal agum, not in our times. It is possible, varalam. Right. But what will be the fallout and what will be the consequences, we do not know. தெரியாது. Because cloning வந்தது, but then cloning consequences were not very good. It was kind of equivocal. On one side it gave a lot of scope, on the other side animal cloning வேண்டாம் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரியான ஒரு feeling also is there, because it leads to a lot of diseases in the animals and all that. So அந்த மாதிரி the consequences எப்படி இருக்கும்னு தெரியாது.
Right. Janaki Ramakrishnan wants to know when you will commence writing again.
I have already commenced. Like, see, this 3 year was a kind of a break, a sabbatical. I didn't want to concentrate much on speaking and writing when I hold the office. I thought my concentration should completely be there. So I did not kind of, venture into these areas. I kept myself away. Maybe after I complete my term, I would restart. But then, konjam ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டேன் இப்பவே.
Oh, good. Happy to know that. Madhu Chandrasekharan, he is amazed at your time management. he wants advice to youngsters on this aspect since he feels that they're all pulled in different directions today.
Uh, there are a few tips. I think each one will have to make their own way of managing time. They have to learn by trial and experience. But then the few tips that I would say, don't unnecessarily spend time on things where you can save time. Say, for
Right.
example, முன்னால கூட இல்லை, இப்போ கூட வைக்கலாம் ஃபோன். எல்லார்கிட்டயும் phone இருக்கு. But if there is a necessity to communicate, if SMS or WhatsApp messaging would help, do that instead of making a call. ஒரு கால் எடுத்தா எப்படி இருக்க, சௌக்கியமா, நல்லா இருக்கியா, 2 minutes you lose extra on things which are regular. Instead you text the information, you save time. So அந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன விஷயங்கள்ல you will have to find your own time, steal time from your own time, where all we can save. இப்போ ஒரு ஒரு வேலையை பண்ணும்போது அதுக்கு இவ்வளவு டைம் எடுக்க போகுது அப்படின்னா அப்ப கூட இன்னொன்னு பண்ண முடியுமா அப்படிங்கறத ட்ரை. அண்ட் குக்கிங், when you're cooking, certain things பக்கத்திலே நிக்கணும். பாலை அடுப்புல வச்சுட்டு நகர்ந்து போக முடியாது. ஆனா certain things you can adjust your time. Okay, this is going to take so much of time, 20 minutes. Within that 20 minutes, if I can do something else for 10 minutes, you will have to make your own schedule. You'll have to learn by experience, make time.
Srikanth Racherla, have you released any books that are uniting music and medicine?
Not yet. I'm working on a few of them. Maybe after some years.
K.S. Narayanan, what challenges did you face in compiling the medical dictionary in Tamil? எவ்வளோ நாள் ஆச்சுன்னு கேட்கிறார் அவர்.
It took about 3-4 years. Major challenge adula enna standardization of the terms.
Okay.
See, this is not one single individual's effort. You will have to put in kind of, bring in some more people into the team and then get some words from here, there, everywhere and try and mix up. அப்ப என்ன பிரச்சனை வரும்னா, நான் சொன்ன வேர்டு தான் கரெக்ட் அப்படின்னு ஒரு கைண்ட் ஆஃப் people will sometimes stick to their ego, stick to their word and all that. Standardize பண்ணணும். அதை ஸ்டாண்டர்டைஸ் பண்ணும்போது கொஞ்சம் பிரச்சனை வந்தது. But you can still do that. You'll have to take up the challenge, like, seek information from elsewhere, seek what has happened in other languages. அந்த மாதிரி எடுத்து கம்பேரிட்டிவ் பேசிஸ்ல ஸ்டாண்டர்டைஸ் பண்ணணும். அதுதான் மேஜர் சேலஞ்ச். அதுல
இந்த கேள்வி எல்லாருமே உங்களை கேட்டிருப்பா, ஆனா நானுமே கேட்டே ஆகணும். With regard to the pandemic, what do you feel is the current scenario in our own city, in India, also
yes.
in India? And
Yes.
What is the advice? What is your, you are a very balanced person. You can give us sane advice. அதாவது ரொம்ப இந்த பக்கமும் லீன் பண்ணாத, அந்த பக்கமும் லீன் பண்ணாத, ஒரு ஈக்குலிபிரியம் அட்வைஸ் கொடுங்க.
Right. Sudhaji, the thing is, the pandemic, right now, the third wave is on the down slope. In some parts of the country, the third wave has been officially announced to be gone. But we cannot leave our precautions. Let us understand one basic fact. The virus will not leave the earth. Very often people ask me, when will the virus go? My request to them is, where will it go? When will it go aprom? Where will it go? It will still be there on this earth. Ana enna aguna, it will become a kind of an endemic virus. We say epidemic. The opposite of epidemic is endemic. To put it very simply, it will just be lying in some pockets, எங்கயாவது ஒரு இடத்துல மூலையில போய் உட்கார்ந்துரும். When someone with lower immunity encounters the virus, it will catch them. That is the simple equation. ஏதோ ஒரு மூலையில உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கும், மறைஞ்சு உட்கார்ந்துட்டு இருக்கும். ஆனா அங்க பக்கத்துல போறவங்களுக்கு இம்யூனிட்டி இல்லைன்னா பிடிச்சுக்கும். அதுதான் எண்டமிக்ங்கிறது. ஸோ இந்த immunity should be high. அதுக்கு தான் we say vaccination. If you're vaccinated and your boosters are also on, then your immunity goes up. The virus cannot attack you. That is one. The second thing, the virus will still be waiting and try to modify itself. It will mutate into another version. We have already seen Omicron varaikum vandutom. It started with alpha, beta, gamma, everything has come. So it will try and change itself in such a way that it can still catch people and survive, because it's a matter of survival for it. So அது சேஞ்ச் ஆகும். அப்போ சேஞ்ச் ஆகிறத தடுக்கணும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா the best way is to still continue with all the precautions. The simplest advice in any pandemic is, if there is a high contact, the disease wave is high. If there is a low contact, the disease wave is low. If you go to the seashore, you will definitely encounter waves. Don't tell me there will not be waves at all. There will be waves. But some waves will be tall, some waves will be very short. You want a shallow wave? You want the pandemic to have a shallow wave? Then maintain low contact. So one-to-one contact low vada irukano. In other words, we still have to maintain masking. We still have to maintain physical distancing. We still have to maintain sanitizing and ventilation. Naraya ventilation. Keep your windows open, keep your doors open. When you're traveling by your AC car, first 5-10 minutes, keep the shutters down so that there is ventilation. Then you put it up. So have some ventilation. All this will keep the virus at bay. Don't leave these precautions. Masks, of course, இப்போ நல்ல ஸ்டைலா கலரா அட்டாயருக்கு மேட்சிங்காலாம் மாஸ்க் இருக்கு. ஸோ மாஸ்க் போடுறதுல இப்போ இன்கன்வீனியன்ஸ்லாம் ஒன்றும் இல்லை. நம்ம எல்லாருமே பழகிட்டோம். மாஸ்க் கண்டிப்பாக போடணும். வீட்டுக்கு வெளியிலேருந்து யாராவது வந்தாலும் மாஸ்க் போடணும். அந்த பிஹேவியரை விடக்கூடாது. மாஸ்க் இஸ் ஒன் சிங்கிள் ஃபேக்டர் which will keep the viral infection at bay. Mask will help. அதுதான் மேக்சிமம். அதுக்கப்புறம் பிசிக்கல் டிஸ்டன்சிங், சானிடைசிங் அதெல்லாம் பண்ணலாம். பட் மாஸ்கை மட்டும் விட்டுறவே கூடாது. அண்ட் பேசும்போது நிறைய பேர் மாஸ்கை இறக்கி விட்டுட்டு பேசுறதை பார்க்குறேன். இப்போ நம்ம தனித்தனி ரூம்ல இருக்கோம், இட்ஸ் ஃபைன். மேக்சிமம் நம்ம கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் வில் பி அட் ரிஸ்க், அவ்வளவுதான், நத்திங் எல்ஸ். பட் மைக்கில் பொது இடத்துல பேசும்போது டோன்ட் ரிமூவ் த மாஸ்க். கொஞ்சம் யூ ஹேவ் டு ட்ரெயின் யுவர் செல்ஃப் டு டாக் வித் த மாஸ்க் ஆன். கஷ்டம்தான், கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம்தான். பட் உசுரை காப்பாத்திக்கணும் அப்படின்னா இந்த கஷ்டத்தை கொஞ்சம் நம்ம we'll have to train ourselves. அவ்வளவுதான்.
Right. So let's move to something light, quick answers. நீங்க வந்து ரொம்ப ஒரு சீரியஸான விஷயம் பேசி நானே இப்போ வந்து எப்படி போய் அந்த கச்சேரியை வந்து அடுத்த மாசம் பாடுறதுன்னு யோசிக்கிற லெவலுக்கு கொண்டாந்தீங்க. What's the best book that you have read so far?
Ramayana. Undoubtedly.
Who's your best critic?
My mother.
Is it? Okay. How do you de-stress? How do you de-stress yourself?
De-stressing, reading, listening to music, dhyanam.
The last one, yes. ஏன்னா இது படிக்கிறதுமே you're stimulating your brain இல்லையா ஒரு விதத்துல.
இல்ல, stimulating the brain does not have to kind of stress you. Your brain will have to be stimulated. The brain is working all the time. அதனால அது ஒன்றும் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் பண்ணாது. பட் தென் திங்கிங் கொஞ்சம் இருக்கலாம். when you read, thinking இருக்கு. தியானத்துல அந்த thought process-உம் it's kind of dissolving away.
Your favorite vacation spot?
My own home.
I should have expected this, right? நீங்க வந்து நிறைய டிஸ்கோர்சஸ் கொடுத்திருக்கீங்க. யாருடைய டிஸ்கோர்ஸ் has given you so much of a completeness, or பூர்ணத்துவம்?
ஆசா ஞான சம்பந்தம்.
Okay. And of course, it was Kambaramayana? இல்ல.
Not Kambaramayana alone. He used to kind of speak on Periya Puranam and so many things. அது குற்றால அருவி அப்படியே கொட்டும்.
என் குரு ஞாபகம் வருது.
It's for us to take. Yeah, something similar to MLB Amma. Yes.
எம்எல்வி அம்மா ஸ்வரம் பாடுறச்சு நிஜமாவே அது வந்து நயாகர வீழ்ச்சின்றா, நீர் வீழ்ச்சின்றா. பட் அதையும் மீறி வேற ஏதோ என்னமோ வரும் அதுல. ஒரு சமயம் போல ஒரு சமயம் அது வந்து தம்புரா போடுறது கூட நான் வந்து சில வேளை ஃப்ரீஸ் ஆயிருக்கேன். Because you're so awestruck.
Awestruck. Yeah.
Okay, this is about yourself. Your versatility, we all know about it. But for you, for your own self, is there one thing that you feel you have missed out on doing because of probably you never got the right opportunity?
I wanted to learn dance.
பாடுறதுன்னு சொல்லாதீங்க. ஆமா, பாடுறதுன்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது.
பாடுறது சொல்ல, I wanted to learn dance. But my mother kind of said no. She said it's a very expensive hobby. அதனால முடியாது அப்படின்ட்டா. அது கொஞ்சம் வருத்தம் தான். But what to do?
அப்படி பார்த்தா நானே வந்து நீங்க ஆனோன்னு நினைச்சேன். அப்படின்னு என்ன அர்த்தம் தெரியுமா? நான் டாக்டர் ஆனோன்னு நினைச்சேன். கைனகாலஜிஸ்ட் ஆனோன்னு ரொம்ப ஆசை. So I started with my entry into Epidsode College with PCB, Physics, Chemistry, Biology. அப்புறம் பாடின உடனே ப்ரொஃபஸர்ஸ்லாம் நீ பாடணும். So if you become a doctor, then you can't spend much time. So go to economics.
No, but I do remember, like, you know, in Epidsode, once, of course, I was not a student of Epidsode. I probably was a few years junior to you. Na PUC padikirche. I had come to Epidsode for a competition. Not competition actually. Competition mudinju prize distribution. Annakita, you sang the prayer. When you told me, you know, na prayer padine kamman vidala appdin sollumbodhu, I remembered that incidents. Anniki Suki Sivam vandu was the guest speaker. It was Jagannadachar endowment oration for which he was the orator. Anniki and the prize distribution. Na prize vaangradhukaga vandirnen. And then you were so kind of, you know, I think Annikita நீங்க அந்த உலகம் யாவையும் first you're singing it in நினைக்கிறேன். So you were a little tensed up because you were not very familiar with Tamil appo. I think you had come from somewhere else or something. உங்களுக்கு அந்த தமிழ் வார்த்தை வந்து எப்படி உச்சரிக்கிறது, பிகாஸ் யூனோ கெஸ்ட் ஸ்பீக்கர் முன்னாலெல்லாம் ஒருவேளை இது வந்து எசென்ஷியலி அ தமிழ் ப்ரோக்ராம் அப்படின்னு யூ ஆர் அ லிட்டில் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ட். அண்ட் தென் ஐ ரிமெம்பர் வி சாட் டவுன் தேர். இது இந்த வார்த்தை எப்படி ஆனது, ஐ ரிமெம்பர் தட் வெரி வெரி விவிட்லி. அன்னைக்கு நீங்க பாடின அந்த உலகம் யாவையும் வாஸ் எக்ஸலென்ட்.
Great. Thank you. One incident in your professional career that you found most challenging, but your spirituality helped to overcome?
One particular incident னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன். See, நிறைய விஷயங்கள் 2-3 situations. My profession is such that where we face death at close quarters. So அந்த மாதிரி patients death face பண்ணும்போது, or sometimes அந்த relatives face பண்ணும்போது, spirituality had helped me, you know, maintaining my calm and trying to tell them what exactly has happened. And later time lala, they have kind of taken some confidence in me. Na poi sollumbodhu they will definitely kind of, you know, accept it. Seri ma neengle solringa appadina, adu probably because of the spiritual side they had developed some kind of respect and confidence. ஸோ அந்த ஒரு இதை வந்து நான் நிறைய ஃபேஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அதே மாதிரி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை ஃபேஸ் பண்ணும்போது ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸோடைய கொஞ்சம் அவங்களோட அந்த அந்த கைண்ட் ஆஃப் அன்ரூலினஸ், ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டாக தான் இருப்பாங்க இல்லையா, அந்த அன்ரூலினஸ், அந்த கொஞ்சம் ஃப்ளக்சுவேஷன் அதெல்லாம் ஹேண்டில் பண்ணும்போது சம்டைம்ஸ் யூனோ where they come storming at you, nothing doing அப்படின்னு ரொம்ப அஜிடேட்டடாலாம் வரும்போது நம்ம பேலன்ஸ் வந்து கொஞ்சம் அதை வந்து பாசிஃபை பண்றதுக்கு, அதை சப்டியூ பண்றதுக்கு it has helped.
I know, I can understand that. Spirituality, I think, would have definitely helped you overcome a lot of situations. Yeah. What is your favorite cuisine? Favorite? No.
I just wanted to say, like, you know, whenever you face difficulties, even see, I work with the government of Tamil Nadu, so there had been some areas where there had been difficult situations handling people. Appalla idu vandu this has come handy to help.
So the last question for the day, நாம சாப்பிடுற சாப்பாடு, what's your favorite cuisine?
My devamritam is தயிர் சாதம்.
எனக்கு ரசம் சாதம்.
Okay.
So
I always used to say devamritam is தயிர் சாதம், and so many of my friends will say உன்னோட devamritam இருக்கா இன்னைக்கு அப்படி.
Thank you so much, Sudha. It was an indeed எனக்கு வார்த்தையால சொல்ல முடியல. ஏன்னா நான் முதல்லயே சொன்ன மாதிரி I have been awed by your lectures, by the way you have functioned in your life, different facets of you. It's been an amazing hour, and I have had so much of insights and learning into the sketch of your life.
Thank
And
you.
I'm sure the audience are struck by your passion and understand how much you juggle each of the activities with so much ease. இன்னிக்கே விடாப்புடியா நீங்க 2 தடவை திருப்பி வந்தீங்க பாருங்க, அங்க நின்னீங்க.
Thank you, Sudhaji, and I'm extremely sorry for the technical glitch, but then I think that's what life kind of teaches us. Yes. Not everything happens the way we expect and propose.
இப்ப கூட பாத்தீங்கன்னா, can you see there's a haze on the screen? There's a
there is something I do not know, but then I always take it this way. Man proposes, God disposes nu solvanga illa. I always believe God proposes, God disposes. So it's a larger scheme of events. Anything you take it in the stride is what I think. But then this evening had been an evening of honor and privilege, and being close to this celebrity, this great woman who kind of enthralls the entire globe with her music. Thanks very much for the occasion.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the very best. Hope to meet you soon physically somewhere.
Thank you.
So, with all, I don't understand why there is a haze on the screen. I tried going out and coming back. It's still there. So, episode 6 of season 4 comes to an end after these lovely moments with Dr. Sudha Seshayyan. Aren't we enthralled by her versatility? She used the word enthralled for me, but I think hearing her speak made such a great impression on me, all of us. Let's all pursue our passions with equal commitment and elan. It is the likes of such talented women that make our creative and educational space more beautiful. ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு உங்க எல்லாரையும் பார்த்ததுல. Dr. Sudha Seshayyan சொன்ன மாதிரி, don't let your guard down. Please take your vaccines. Remember the SMS, sanitizing, mask wearing, and social distancing. And let's hope that the virus says goodbye soon enough. Ta-da, until the next session with another celebrity guest.